Okay, guys, I actually I posted something like yesterday, and I want to give some context for this. So it was a repost from something that Snoop Dogg posted. So Snoop Dogg says this. He says, no, it wasn't Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg reposts something from someone else. It was a shout out to all the fathers, but it was like the loser fathers, right? It was like, shout out to all the men running the streets. Shout out to all the stepfathers. Shout out to all the fathers who were kind of partially present and all this shit, right? So everybody's like, yeah, so here are the fathers in the community or whatever. And like, here's a part where like, honestly, I can't get behind black fathers. I'm sorry, like, I am not supportive. I am anti-black fatherhood. Here's why. The old black men in the society, like, they know what's going on. Like, they understand pimping, they understand simping, they understand faggotry, they understand all of these like really awful things that are happening in the black community to people who are actually like unaware, like young people, children, like they understand incest, all type of shit, like rape, there was like, when I heard the talk, there was like a talk at Google, right, where there's this guy Jeff Duncan. Now Jeff Duncan is like a Mexican guy, but what his talk is all about, like, there's all these things happening in black and brown communities. So he says out loud that all of these things are happening in these communities. So that means like he knows all of these things are happening in these communities. He's like a grown ass man. These are the men in the society. Like, they know what the problems are. He knows so well that he gets paid to go to like the college every day and just give the same fucking lecture about children are being raped and like this is happening and this awful thing is happening and that awful thing is happening. And it's kind of like, the first time I heard the talk, I was floored because I was like, I did not know that this is happening. I've never met anyone to whom this has happened to. I mean, I have my own stories, which I've shared with you guys, but I didn't know anyone else was dealing with this. Honestly, I didn't have any friends who were dealing with it, like, or maybe not that I know of. Maybe they just never felt comfortable telling me. I don't really know, but I know that it's happening, and nobody's really like dealing with it. And I know, especially for myself, when I was younger, I didn't have the advocacy skills to be like, here's what rape is, I am raped, like, it's really sad. The only thing I could do was like cower in a corner and be like, oh, this was awful for me. Like, I didn't even have words. I couldn't like do anything about it. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't be on YouTube like, oh, this thing happened to me. I didn't know to call the police. Like, sometimes like some things like you literally do not learn. And like for me, my parents did not really teach me how to interact with like civil utilities and like reporting to the government, the city officials, about like, I didn't understand how to use police officers or public health officers or like anything like that. Like, I didn't know any of those things, so I couldn't like, how can I say, like, I couldn't advocate for myself. But now I can advocate for myself. And like, now that I realize like the power of advocacy, like, if you actually do go out into the world and you tell your story, there are lots of people who will care. For some reason in the black community, black men don't give a shit. Like, black women have been suffering for so long and they just don't give a shit. It's just like everyone is suffering, so it's like the fucking trauma Olympics. It's like, well, I'm suffering too. Well, me too. What about my suffering? It's like, well, your suffering's higher than my suffering, and we're all suffering and suffering. Okay, like, that's not a life worth living. If you're honestly suffering that bad that you need to like go ruin someone else's life, kill yourself. Kill yourself. Just put it to a fucking end. Like, you don't need to bring that shit out into the rest of society. Like, honestly, like, you don't have to do that. Like, put something out better, or just don't put anything out at all. Which is why, like, for a while I was not making any content about anything. Why? Because I did not want to put out trauma porn for you guys. Like, I don't want other black women to only have problems and to just have some channel that's just like, here's the trauma porn channel this life that's bad, without any fucking solutions. Because at that time, I didn't have any solutions. Well, now I have solutions. So I'd be happy to like talk to you about, here's the thing that happened, here's what I should have done, here's what I actually can do moving forward, and shit like that. But here's the thing. Everyone doesn't fucking feel like that. Like, some people really think like, I mean, it's like one fucking thing happens and they're like, your whole life's over. Like, it's never really like that. Like, no matter what happens to you, the truth is you can like move forward and grow from it. You just can. And you don't have to. I think that's another thing too, where some people just really believe like, oh, don't tell your own story. Sometimes you should just move on. Well, here's the thing. If everyone just fucking moves on, nobody will ever solve the problem because they don't even see that the problem exists. You have to be able to fucking see the problem, which is why I'm literally here talking to you guys about my real life. Like, this is not a fairy tale. This is my real American girl life. It fucking sucks, bro. It's like every day there's like some nigger shit always like trying to bring me down every fucking day. Every day. And you know, I feel like I just cannot get behind Black fatherhood. Fuck the Black fathers. That's what I say. They've watched this community go to shit for fucking decades. They don't give a shit about anybody. If you are a white subscriber watching this, you should just know, like, honestly, you should probably keep blocking them up because, like, they don't care. They've watched everything go bad, and then they want to say, we care about our families. We care about our families. No, they don't. No, they don't. You can't live in a society where you are like, oh, well, I can do good for me, but then you watch everything else go to shit, and you're like, yeah, but I didn't do that. Like, that's not the way society works. If you literally watch everyone else have nothing and then you have everything, and you never like even leave a note, a quote, a way to improve, no one will fucking ever improve because like they literally don't know how. They don't know how. Like, you have to like show them how. That's the purpose of my channel, at least, just to kind of be like something different. Like, this is just a different story, right? It's definitely not some story of like overcoming and being happy about everything, because I'm not fucking happy. I'm not Pharrell. I'm not happy. Pharrell is happy. I am not happy. I don't even know like another thing to say about that. Like, I'm not happy. I've never been happy. I'm not a happy child. This is what an unhappy child looks like.